High up in the mountains of Central Asia lives a giddy goat with a lot of panache and a penchant for stomping its enemies into the dirt. But the rumor mill stops for no goat, not even for the Markhor. And this cud chewer's legendary hooves have earned it a name that has led to an unusual fascination with its spit. But expecting exceptional expectoration is all a part of life, death, and taxonomy.
Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter at LD Taxonomy or visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons, to Tristan Taylor, Jesse Raspolich, Carol Raspolich, and Richard Kaspar. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on.
And today we're talking about a gruff goat with a woolly throat, but more on that later.
This goat is so gruff. I don't even know what gruff means.
I think it just means like grumpy.
Wizened.
Maybe.
But yeah, this is a goat's goat, like a man's man.
The goat of goats,
but it's a goat's goat.
Greatest of all goats.
Oh yeah, people say that a lot now. Oh, it's the goat. It's the goat. Like,
there's
okay.
There's
way to be top shelf with your adjectives just all the time.
Our company is thinking about some rebranding stuff. So there's another company that is helping us name stuff, come up with names. So like they just have a process that we're following. So we had a meeting and had a long list of names. Among them were many like funny ones that we just said and wrote down because it's like a brainstorming thing. You didn't want to like, you don't want to like. You never want anyone to feel like their idea was stupid because then they'll shut up and maybe not give you a great idea. So I said goat as in greatest of all time as a joke, and somebody wrote it down, and then this list went to this company and they had to categorize all of our suggestions, and one of them was that.
That's your rebranding for the company? Ones. The company's just going to be called Goat?
No.
Or that's going to be your tagline.
It certainly will not be that. I forget why we were talking about it. It's like why that came up, but that made it on the list.
It's like Widget Inc., the goat.
Yeah.
Like it's funny that you hear people saying that now, because it's just like, it used to be like, oh, that's the best, or that's awesome, or that's great. It's just like, okay, those are some pretty high superlatives that maybe you may or may not mean. Like the best, is it really the best? But no, people are saying that it's the greatest of all time. This donut right here is the greatest of all time. Like, yes. Okay,
it's goated.
There is no way and goated. Oh man. And I think I go into like goaded, GOADED, like it's goaded into what? Yeah. oh wait, no, go sorry, it's you have bestowed upon it the asinine title of greatest of all time. It's something that you're gonna give to the next thing that comes around.
I do like saying oat milk is the goat milk, but I don't believe it. I think cow's milk ironically is the goat milk.
Greatest of all time milk?
Yeah.
Or so this animal that we're covering is a goat lord, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever played Goat Lords?
Yes.
It is a great game. I'd even say it's the GOAT of games, you know?
That's quite a thing to say.
It's the goat. It's the greatest goat game of all time. Greatest game of all time. Goat is a Pokemon also. So anyway, what are we talking about? A goat, obviously.
We're talking about a marker.
Sharpie. A fruit smelling one. One of those ones that has the stamp on the end.
Yeah.
Dry erase.
That page, my secretary. Hey, Sharon, can you give me some fruit-smelling markers?
Sharon.
I just like the idea of like when you were thinking of types of markers, there was Sharpie and fruit-smelling.
Yeah, I guess dry erase should have been number
erase,
2.
Wet erase. Watercolor.
Those ones those really strong smelling like alcohol based ones. With the little like ball in it that makes it sound like a spray paint can. Those are all the markers I can think of, except for the marker that turns everybody into necromorphs in Dead Space. But yeah,
well, this marker is Markhor.
Markhor. Yeah, it's
Markhor. Markhor.
It's Mark Wahlberg. Doing flips off of like buildings and stuff like that. It's Markhor.
I just did a timely reference to the greatest Christmas movie of all time, the GOAT of Christmas movies.
Don't say it's a Christmas Story.
No.
Oh wait, no. Is it? It's the Jimmy
It's a
Stewart
Wonderful
one.
Life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I don't know if it's the greatest Christmas movie of all time because it doesn't really revolve around Christmas. It just happens. It's like Home Alone. It just happens around Christmas.
Yeah, Home Alone is as much of a Christmas movie as Die Hard is. It's just like it's an intense thing that happens, and it happens to be Christmas also. But everything would be pretty much exactly the same if the McAllisters went on a vacation in July.
Yeah. But the only difference is that at the end they sing Hark the Herald, which is classic ending of a Christmas movie.
That's how the Charlie
or
Brown
a
one
Peanuts holiday special. Yeah. Every time a bell rings. Also, it explains why there was a bell in his house at the end so that could be said.
I don't think I've seen that movie through from start to finish. I have seen the whole thing, but it's like Forrest Gump. That it's not a movie that I've ever sat down and watched from start to finish. I've just seen all of it in aggregate.
I watch it every year. I know every line.
I don't know what my favorite Christmas movie would be.
Like when Jimmy Stewart the spell has been cast. And he's no longer. He has never been born. He's walking around and he's like looking for his car, and he's like, "Markhor, where is it?" And that's what made me think of this.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what my favorite Christmas movie would be. Baby really likes the Santa Claus movies, which I do not like that much. And she also likes
the first one's great.
I don't.
The rest of them are very bad movies.
I don't like Tim Allen very much. He's just.
I also know every line to that movie, to the first Santa Claus movie.
He's just Tim Allen. We're watching Tim the Toolman Taylor here.
I love it.
And he's just like
bee sting. Evidently, I'm allergic.
We're getting the Disney Channel. Congratulations, Merry Christmas or whatever.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
And there's I'm just not a fan of Tim Allen's performances. But then there's Jingle All the Way, which I watched for the first time as an adult, and it without the nostalgic value, it's a rough movie to watch.
It's beautiful. Put the cookie down. I love it.
But I don't know. Maybe Elf. That might be my favorite one.
I love I love all of the Arnold movies where everyone's pretending like he's not a 7 foot tall man mountain Austrian.
He's just living in.
His name is Howard.
His name is Howard. He lives in like St. Paul, and he can't. English is clearly not his first language,
but he's a star salesman
and
who works too much.
Just remember, you're my favorite customer. And the line that Bibby and I say all the time is, "It's pretty cool." When he's trying to get back in his son's in Anakin Skywalker's good graces after missing his kung fu battle or whatever. Oh yeah, it's all like the whole thing is just a big slapstick thing, which is fine, but it's like it's like if the climax of Home Alone was just the whole movie of just people slipping and falling and punching each other and getting zapped, and it's like this is the whole thing. But also no nostalgic value, so it kind of it's not my favorite.
We're talking about nicknames for this?
We're talking about a goat, aren't we?
Christmas goat.
It's known as the Screwed Horned Goat.
Scrooge horn?
Scrooge horn, yeah. Oh yeah, I guess no, there aren't any really good like movie adaptations of that. The Jim Carrey one is really weird, but it's okay. Of A Christmas Carol.
There's a part there's a line in it that I hate. I can't remember what it was, but I think it was a line that they got from the original book, which is just bad. But I think they misrepresent. And the Muppets is great.
Oh, there's a lot of singing in that one. I'm not a fan of musicals, so. There's an R-rated show.
There's a new one.
Yeah, there's a new one with Will Ferrell. And I forgot who the other actor is, but Will Ferrell plays the Ghost of Christmas Present, and they're just going around, and I think it's like Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, and they're just having a grand old time visiting Christmas Present. I
that's a musical, I think.
Oh no! I mean, not like I was gonna watch it. It's like I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch a movie in theaters, and B, like I'm gonna watch a comedy.
I've never seen the old school one either. The black and white one.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one. But there's a show that came out of maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it's R-rated. There's what's his name? Jacob Marley shows up. Like his jaw is falling off, and you can see the flesh and all this stuff, and it's intense.
I guess it's supposed to be scary. Like it is, like the original story is supposed to be like unsettling.
And it is. Most of these adaptations have some unsettling thing in them. There's also the Disney one, or the Mickey Mouse one.
Scrooge. Yeah, I like that one too.
Anyway, how did we get there?
Scrooge McDuck.
Oh no, because it's called the Screwed Horned Goat. It's also called the Shakawat. Make of that what you will.
Passamaquoddy?
Sure, yeah.
That's the town in Pete's Dragon.
Yeah. So it's called Shakawat. We're gonna call it here Markhor, Dark Lord of the Sith, the Capper Demon, the Slytherin Slurper, and of course, Snake Eater.
Interesting.
Which is Snake is the main character of Metal Gear Solid. There's a game called Snake Eater from the Metal Gear Solid collection, a series of games I never played, but
the Metal Gear Solid collection.
Yeah, it's on loan from the.
Own the greatest hits.
It's on loan from the Metal Gear Solid collection. Yeah. The Markhor.
You have a game we could play?
No, because we need to taxonomize this, Captain. It's been 15 minutes.
I mean, okay, if you have time. It's the kingdom Animalia. You know it, you love it, you're in it. It's in the phylum Chordata. It's in the class Mammalia. It's in the order Artiodactyla, which means it's what, even-toed ungulates.
Yeah, which means it's a humpback whale.
Yeah, it's a bovidae, which is cloven-hooved ruminants.
Choose the cud.
Caprinae, which is you're born, I think, in August or something. I don't know. It's a ruminants, medium-sized bovids, antelopes and stuff. And Caprinae, it's a tribe. The tribe is Caprinae, and then the genus is Capra. That's the goats of goats.
That's
The goatists, the goated goats.
That's as goat as you can
Including
get.
the domestic goat. Yeah. And the species is falconeri. Capra falconeri.
Yeah, it's a falconer.
Or falconry.
Yeah, it's if you get on one's bad side, it will literally send a trained falcon after you. But since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for my favorite part of the show, critter groups. The part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal, or what is the term of venery, or what is the collective noun? 3 ways to ask the same question. If you saw a group of goats, what would you call them? Would you call them A prance of goats, B, a prattle of goats, C, a glut of goats, or D, a trip of goats?
A prattle? Tell me the first two again.
Prance, prattle, glut, and trip.
I'm going with the prance. It's free real estate. Prance of goats.
The goat formerly known as Prance. That is incorrect. The answer is trip.
My gut wasn't telling me anything about this one.
Your gut wasn't even telling you glut?
No. You'd think it would, but it didn't.
Yeah, it's a trip of goats. I mean,
What? That's a trip. Now
Yeah.
that's a trip.
And it's trippy, like shoppy, like vitamin shoppy. It's
Oh. Tripe?
no TRIPPE, so it's still trip.
Ah. So it's not tripe as in like the weird stuff in the guts of animals?
Oh, is that what it's called? Tripe?
Tripe with one P.
Is it like bacteria?
First or second stomach of a cow or other ruminant.
Well, it
A
sounds
trip
like
of goats has tripe.
yeah, a trip of goats has a lot of tripes, I'd say. Did I ever tell you that I prepared cow stomach for people in an insane asylum in Colombia?
You sure did not tell me that.
I was volunteering.
How do you go from not really cooking at all to doing that?
I told them I made a mean grilled cheese one time, and they're like, "Here, have 25 pounds of cow stomach, frozen cow stomach." I was volunteering in Colombia, and I didn't really have any particular skills, and so they just kind of put me wherever things were needed. And there was a mental asylum in Bogota, and they were short-handed on people to prepare the food, and the food that they got were like the parts of animals that you don't really that aren't like aren't popular, and one of those is the cow stomach. And so they gave me a big like 3 foot by 1.5 foot square chunk of flesh that was frozen. And they,
was it like ribbed? Did it have ridges?
no, it was just.
Was it a smooth stomach?
No, it was like a bunch of balled up flesh. It was
Okay,
it was all
maybe it was tripe then.
undulating and stuff like that. Yeah, it wasn't smooth. Basically took a knife and cut off pieces and put it into like really hot water in order to thaw it, and then I was like part of an assembly line, and they went over to actually cook. So I didn't actually cook it. I just kind of cut it up into pieces and put it in to thaw it. And I tried some, and it just tasted like rubbery nothingness.
Huh.
So that's my cow stomach story. That's my tripe story.
That's one more cow stomach story than I have.
And all the while there were just the eeriest moans and wails coming from down the hall, because it was a mental hospital and people were moaning and wailing. But it was the middle of the day, so I wasn't scared.
Nothing bad happens in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it always happens at night. All right, what does it look like? Who is this boy? Who is this goat boy?
Okay. They're light brown to black in their coat. But females can sometimes have a reddish brown coat, which is fun for them. They're smooth. Their coats are smooth and short in the summer and thicker in the winter, which is appropriate for mountain dwelling animals. They have black and white legs, black and white fur on their legs, and they have, of course, long corkscrew horns, which are their most striking feature, I would say.
I'd say so too.
They look like a regular goat, except for that they have these really long corkscrew horns. And like obviously they're larger in males because that's who uses the horns, but females also have horns. But males have longer hair. They have neck beards, which sort of the extent of their sexual dimorphism. They're maned, and they have a bit long corkscrew horns.
And they have, high-level League of Legends characters because of their neck beards.
Right. Yeah. Do you level up characters in League of Legends?
I probably should have said Warcraft. I know that you level up in Warcraft. I don't know the first thing about League of Legends, except that it's an isometric game, and I don't like isometric games. So, and I also don't like MMOs. I probably would have if you got me when I was 14, but. Skyrim would have been the gateway, or Oblivion would have been the gateway drug into becoming a Warcraft addict, but it never ended up happening. So I just stuck with my gateway drug.
Let's talk about their size and dimensions. So welcome to the Blood Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show. The part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz. That's fun for just the whole family. We don't have a new Measure Up intro this week.
Drat.
It's been quite a while.
It has been a while.
It's been quite a while.
This is the dry holiday season.
Is that how it goes usually?
No.
Yeah, we even have a little bit like our surge in listeners has dipped a little bit. A lot of people are, I guess, wasting their time with experiencing mirth and glee with their friends and family for the holidays. And that really,
when they could be learning animal facts.
Pickles my prawns. That's what it is.
Yeah, it pickles your prawns.
Just kidding. We like that. We like it.
We like people spending time with their family, but what we like better is you spending time with your family after having gained some obscure and generally useless animal knowledge that you can regale everyone with at the dinner table.
Yes, regale them. But since we don't have a new measure intro, we're gonna deep dive into
The goats.
the greatest hits, the goats.
Oh my gosh.
And we're not gonna go that deep. We're gonna go back to August of this year to relive one of the goats. Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
Yes.
Oh wait. Remember you had they gave you the Go Carlos and it didn't go well, so maybe the Mojo will get you this time.
Yeah, it was the pool.
I like the at the end of like as it escalates, one of them, I don't know who it is, but someone just goes just starts yelling.
I heard the Christmas concert went well and they were a part of it, so
yeah,
I miss it.
Apparently my sister was going to do a particular solo that is kind of like in a range that's difficult for an adult, or maybe just difficult for her particular range, but perfect for a child range. So it's written for a children's choir, but they didn't have a children's choir. So they sent it to Julia, who's at the, my sister, I guess, suggested bringing Julia to the show, with the solo. Not actually. Bringing her to the show as in, like, bringing her to the big leagues. She was already going to be in the show. And she did great.
Yeah, just today, Baby was like, "Oh, I just watched the video of that exact solo of Julia singing," and so I was like, "Oh, I gotta check that out." But after I record the episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thank you once again, Joy and Julia and Calvin and Laura. That was great. I like it. It's musical. We like musical ones.
I like harmonies.
It's above and beyond. You don't have to do it, but musical ones are definitely top tier. They are goated.
Harmonies are just. It's tough to go wrong with harmonies. It's like pizza. It's just good. It's always good, as long as
it is always good. It's always good.
You can just take any song that is great and add harmonies to it. And strings, and you have a better song, I'd say, and probably a modulation. Those three things. Just
strings are great. Saxophone is also good for certain genres of songs.
I mean, saxophone goes really well, yeah, in certain genres, but I can't really think of a genre that wouldn't be improved with strings. Like even rap could be improved with
I mean, Eminem proved that.
Does he have strings?
Yeah. Yes.
Huh.
Let's talk height before we start talking about rap and sound like idiots.
Yeah. Something we know a lot
about. They're between 65 to 115 centimeters or 26 to 45 inches at the shoulder, at the withers, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
45 inches, what is that, 3.5 or 3 or, a little more than 3.5?
3 feet 9 inches. There's 3 3/4.
So how many Markhor? So I've got a mix. We've got the old style and in the new style.
Oh boy.
The Jeopardy style question, and this one in particular is a traditional style measure up question. So how many Markhors would it take to go the distance in an alpha particle can travel in 1 second? Do you know what an alpha particle is?
Nope.
Well, here's a hint. An alpha particle is made of 2 neutrons and 2 protons, which shoot out of a large unstable nucleus in a process called alpha decay. It is the heaviest type of radiation and goes slower than other radioactive particles. It also slows down and eventually stops, and it can even be stopped with something as thin as tissue paper.
Yeah, because most of the radiation is just electrons. They're super small and super fast.
Like near the speed of light. beta particles are near the speed of light.
So how far this thing can go in a second?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't. Even if it goes a fraction of the speed of light, that's a long way. Considering that in 1 second, light can go 180,000 miles. Um, uh, um, I don't know. I'm gonna say it's the height you said. It's 45-inch situation.
At the withers, yep.
Miles, goodness gracious. Okay, I'm gonna say it's a third of the speed of light. It is a lot heavier than an electron, though. I don't know what I'm talking about. The We're gonna say it's a third, which is 60,000 miles a second, which is 3.8 billion inches divided by 45. 84.4 million Markhors. Go into the distance. An alpha particle can travel in 1 second.
Final answer.
Yeah.
The correct answer is 18.3 million Markhors.
At least I got the exact number of digits right.
That's true. Alpha particles travel at 7% the speed of light, or 13,000 miles per second. Although, I did see that since they slow down, that might not be their top speed. So I saw that it was closer to 18,000 miles per second when they first shoot out of the nucleus. So you might be, your answer is a little bit, that's a little closer to your answer.
Yeah, I was saying 60,000 miles a second.
Yeah,
So it's
a little closer.
Teensy bit closer. Still way off. Still not a nursing school victory. I'm sorry I let everybody down.
All right, I think you're gonna get this one. Here's a Jeopardy style, except for you don't have to say what is, measure up question about their weight, which is 32 to 110 kilograms or 71 to 243 pounds. That's a hefty goat, big goat.
That's a big goat.
So around 222 Markhors go into the weight of this bomb, which was dropped in 1961, 34 miles from the village of Severny in Russia.
I don't know the names of bombs.
Here's a hint. The bomb was 26 feet long with a 7-foot diameter.
Yeah, I don't know the name. I know the names of Fat Boy and Fat Man and Little Boy or whatever the ones we.
Well, you're on the right track.
Is it large man?
It is a thermonuclear weapon.
Yeah. Outside of Russia? I don't know. No idea.
It's in Russia.
Can't or in Siberia.
The largest nuclear weapon in history.
I remember sometime this year looking at a chart of the largest detonations in history, and it showed a diagram of the size of the mushroom clouds and all this stuff, and the heat and the tonnage and all that stuff. I did not absorb the names of any of these bombs. So,
would it help you if I told you that the blast shockwave went around the Earth 3 times?
So people on the other side of the world felt a little tingle 3 times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't help. I'm gonna say it was called the
Say a Russian thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to come up with a Russian thing. It was called the Privyet.
What's the big like a the hello bomb? That would be a cruel name for a bomb.
No, wait, is Privyet hello? I thought it was thank you.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. I thought it was hello.
No, Das Vidanya is no. That's goodbye. I don't remember. Privyet might be hello. Then I guess Zdravstvuyte. I think that's thank you. So that's what I'm going to call it. It's the Zdravstvuyte.
It's a. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here's a last hint. If this bomb was made in Russia, it might be called the President bomb.
The Tsar.
And if it was made in England, it might be called the. Yes, that's correct.
It's just called the Tsar.
The Tsar Bomba.
Tsar Bomba.
The Tsar bomb was 27 tons. You could hurt a lot of people just dropping that without a nuclear payload.
You could just drop that hunk of metal and do some damage. They have there's an idea to have like an orbital weapon that just throws chunks of graphite at the ground from space.
Yeah.
And so it detonates like it doesn't detonate, but it's
like meteors.
It's like a meteor impact with an explosion and everything. And there's no explosives actually involved. You just have a satellite with a hunk of graphite that you just drop.
Well, this is the opposite of the machine that flings things into space.
Yeah.
Which is cheaper than like rockets.
That thing is awesome.
Okay. That's all I got. That's a technical victory.
I think you just dramatically overestimate my trivia knowledge. You're like, oh, I think he'll get this one. I think he knows what the Tsar Bomba is.
I can't believe you didn't know what the biggest bomb in history was.
The only Bomba I know is La Bomba. All I know is
you know
Richie
what La
Valens.
Bamba means in Spanish? I mean, you know what La Bamba means in English?
Nope.
The Bamba.
Does it really? Huh.
Yeah, it has no translation. It's like the name of a dance.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like Danza Kuduro is just the Kuduro dance.
Whenever
Danza
I go
Kuduro.
to a like La Bamba or any other Mexican restaurant, I love dropping that piece of knowledge. Like, you know what La Bamba means in English? What? The Bamba. It's the I'm ready to be a father, I guess. That's the only qualification.
Is joke trivia?
Yeah, dad jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's really the only prerequisite.
Right.
According to
when Mason's like running away, don't put a leash on him. Just say, "Hey, like
just treat him, treat him to a wonderful joke."
Yes, and he'll hear that and be like, "Wow, I wonder what it is."
Yeah, I remember. I was reading the Shepherd Leader at Home, and that was pretty much the only thing the book was about.
Yeah, it was. You basically just throw that book away and just read good, clean jokes for kids.
Just you're just a walking, talking Uncle John's bathroom reader.
Yes. Would you like to hear some fast facts before we get into the major fact?
Sure. Although 243 pounds is very heavy for a goat. That's a big goat. That's a did I ever tell you about the time? Dude, we're just going on all kinds of tangents. Did I ever tell you about the time that Bibby and I went to a restaurant called the Gluttonous Goat?
I don't think so.
It's in Boca. Right in the what's that like really nice
Meisner?
Meisner is in Meisner Park. And Bibby when she was working as a nurse, there was a guy who owned several bays at Meisner, and one of them housed this restaurant, Gluttonous Goat, and he was just giving out gift cards to get people to come to this place. And so he gave her a gift card, and so we went out to this this restaurant, and on the wall was just this if a goat could be a demon of hedonism, that's what we saw. It's just this
like
painting.
a picture of it?
It was a painting, a mural of a goat sitting on a throne with like alcohol, and it had its memories, as tasteful as I can say it, just hanging out. And it had like a crown, and it was like this big fat goat. We went in, and I like, I don't know, I'm kind of a picky eater. I just kind of wanted the burger, and the chef was the one that came out and took our order. And he's this big guy, and he kind of leaned over the table, like we're just sitting at the table, and he's this like obese guy, and he's just like he's got his arms on the table, leaning over it, and taking our order that way. And I was like, I'll just have the burger. And he was like, listen, you don't come here and just get a burger. And I was
then why is it on the menu?
So I capitulated because I'm a weenie, and I was physically intimidated by this guy. So I was like, okay, I'll get the shepherd's pie or whatever. And he's like, that's
What did
right.
he want you to get? The shepherd's pie? That's what he wanted you to get?
Just something, I don't know. But I guess to him the burger was too, like, you know, too standard.
Maybe he should make a better burger then.
Or just I don't know. He wanted us to get this like eclectic experience from this place. And the shepherd's pie wasn't all that good. I don't think Bibby liked her. I think she got some sort of fish, and we never went back. And the place shut down like a few years later. But that was my experience
so I
at a
can't even experience this.
No, it's gone. But yeah, for a little while at Meisner Park, there was a restaurant called the Gluttonous Goat. But here's the thing: if you got a restaurant at Meisner Park, your rent is probably just like criminal. So you better be moving burgers basically in order to pay the rent. You can't be sending your chef out to the tables to intimidate people into eating stuff they don't want to.
Yeah, you gotta have great customer service. You gotta give great food, great experience, great murals.
Yeah, I took a picture of that mural. I don't know where that picture is, but goodness, that is burned into my psyche forever. Anyway.
Okay. So fast facts?
Yes.
Would you like to? You don't come to this podcast and eat just the fast facts, but here are some anyway. Let's talk about their range. They're native to Central Asia, the Himalayas, and the Karakoram Mountains, which is a fun name for mountains.
Yeah, it's like
I wouldn't want to go there.
Lord of the Rings.
Sounds like
mountains.
it would be like. Yeah, it does sound like the Karakoram of Doom. They are well adapted to mountain terrains, and they can be found as high as 11,800 feet.
It's high.
That's quite high.
It's high times.
They enjoy scrub forests. Scrub is like bushes and shrubbery, I think. Yes, short plants. They graze and browse early in the morning and late in the afternoon. Do you know what browsing is? Besides looking for stuff on the internet or in a shop?
It's using Brave instead of Chrome so that you don't get targeted ads.
I think
it's eating shrubs, right? Eating like
pretty much
eye level for a a deer kind of thing, rather than grazing is like putting its head down and eating grass, and then browsing is eating whatever happens to be hitting it in the face.
Yes, eating leaves and soft shoots. That's what browsing is. Couple of browsers. Mating. Mating season is during the winter, and males will spar with their horns to push the other off balance. The winner is the one who stands his ground. And males have a strong smell. And Wikipedia wanted you to know that they are stinkier than normal goats. They smell worse, or at least stronger, than a domestic goat.
And they smell pretty strong.
Makes sense.
They're wild.
Yeah. They're bigger. Why wouldn't they smell more?
They're bigger, they're hairier, and they're
if
wild.
not worse.
There's no reason for them not to smell more than a domestic goat.
They are the national animal of Pakistan. Did you know that?
I did.
I'm sure people think about that all the time.
I'm sure Pakistanis think about that all the time.
Was Pakistan the one that had that game where they like... It was like lacrosse, a polo, but instead of a ball, there was a
goat?
Just a giant goat carcass with no head?
What? I've never heard of that before.
We've talked about it before.
We've talked about a game. Oh, no. We talked about that on Thunder Smash, our podcast from antiquity, back when we were... I forgot what episode we were... What we were talking about. I think it was Nacho Libre or something like that. But I do remember you mentioning that. Oh, bringing back
Headless
the old
goat sport.
I don't remember if it was Pakistan, but that is one
Buzkashi. Kyrgyzstan.
Huh? You got the wrong Stan.
The headless goat polo of Kyrgyzstan.
Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan, yeah.
Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. So many stands.
Predators that enjoy munching on the Markhor include the Eurasian lynx, snow leopards, Himalayan wolves, brown bears, and sometimes the golden eagle.
Oh, we talked about the golden eagle. It likes to push things off of cliffs.
Yeah, it does. But that's all I got for that. Do you have any thick facts?
Thick. If I were an eagle, that would 100% be my my go-to hunting strategy.
Your goat hunting strategy?
Can't wait for this episode to be over. It's just charged with millennial energy. That's a Gen Z thing to say. That's everything being goated is a Gen Zer. I'm calling this major fact. Nature is Metal Gear. Did I say nature fact? I said major. Yeah, I said major. Play it back. Yeah, nature is Metal Gear. So Markhor is actually a Persian word that literally means snake eater. Markhor. But hold on, you might say. Aren't Markhors goats? And you'd be right. And don't goats mainly eat plants and people's shirts and things like that? It's not a carnivore, is it? And I'd say most impressive. Most impressive. Your time listening to our show has done you well. Mammals... I wish I could do a good Darth Vader voice. But... yeah, you're right. Mammals that eat other mammals are usually in the order Carnivora. Or other animals, not mammals, but mammals that eat other animals are usually in the order Carnivora. So what's the deal with this snake-eating business? Is this a carnivorous goat? Is the apocalypse arrived? Is this a biting goat?
Is the apocalypse now?
Is it apocalypse now? It's a myth. That's what. They don't eat snakes at all. The practice has never been officially documented. However, like a lot of things, they have the ability to lose their minds when a snake comes around and trample it to death.
They have that special ability.
To just absolutely panic and stamp on the ground when a snake comes around, killing the snake. which I mean that's running is good, but that's also a pretty good strategy. So it's definitely a snake killer, but it doesn't eat the snakes. It eats plants. It's a herbivore and a shirtivore. No, I don't know. They don't eat shirts.
Newspaperivore.
Yeah, newspaperivore. Homeworkivore. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, this doesn't stop the superstition trains, especially in the more rural areas where it lives in Central Asia. Locals actually sometimes collect the dried foam that the Markhor produces when it's chewing the cud. So this foam comes out of its mouth and falls on the ground and it dries. And the locals will gather it and they will use it to try and cure snake bite venom, because they believe that the Markhor kills and eats snakes, which is interesting because they would. This is in the same part of the world where the mongoose actually does kill and eat snakes, and has a natural defense, defense mechanism in its body to be able to survive multiple cobra bites, and that's the stuff you want to be collecting. But nope, they're fixated on the Markhor, even though it doesn't do that. And that's all well and good, since you don't need to actually interact with the goats to waste your time with these fake remedies. On the other hand, like many animals that live in this part of the world, it is part of Chinese traditional medicine, and the Chinese traditional practice can't leave something alive in order to. There's no collecting a byproduct. It's kill it and take its horns, grind its horns into dust, and use that to cure headache, fever, and rheumatism. So they're just hunted for their horns.
That's an aphrodisiac, obviously.
Is it? I didn't see that.
I don't know, but they always are.
It's like, hey, do you want this fingernail powder? Eh? Does that float your boat? Huh? Just thought you might want some hair dust. Does that
hair dust? Some keratin?
Yeah.
Some keratin.
Yeah. So it's needless to say, it is not has no medicinal properties. It is just horns. They're horns, not antlers. So they're antlers are made out of bone, I believe, and horns are made out of keratin. So keratin is the same stuff that your fingernails and hair are made out of. And there you would get as much eating your own fingernails and hair as you would eating the dust, eating ground up, pulverized Markhor horns.
Eating the dust all the days of your life, and then now we're back to snakes.
Crawling on your belly and eating dust, yes. Eating horn dust. So it's amazing how many animals, like almost every animal that we talk about in this neck of the woods, is involved in Chinese, is poached for Chinese traditional superstitions.
They are also apparently a prized, at least at one point in history, they were a prized prey animal for hunters.
Oh, I'm sure they still are.
Elliot Roosevelt, I think uncle of Eleanor Roosevelt, once wrote like, "Oh, there's no better hunt than a ibex or Markhor hunt, because if you like hunting, it's quite an adventure, because you have to go up like in elevation, and it's dangerous because you're like on cliffs and stuff to get to bag this animal."
It's the uncle of Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah,
but that will.
They were kissing cousins.
Oh,
FD,
you're right.
She was also an Roosevelt.
You're right. I forgot about that.
You were about to ask how could Eleanor Roosevelt have an uncle who was also a Roosevelt when Roosevelt is her
yeah, it's like she was not a Roosevelt
married
beforehand,
name?
But no, yeah, she was a Roosevelt. It's the Targaryens over there. bust, busted trusts.
I think they were. I don't know how how close of cousins they were, but they were cousins.
Actually, no. Theodore Roosevelt was the trust buster. FDR was the New Deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these horns are impressive. If you're a big game hunter, I can see why this would be high on your list, maybe. And also, the horns look just like a drill bit. Drill bit tailor.
Fifth cousins.
Does that count?
I mean, I think I forget how many cousins it takes before there is no genetic risk at all. But it's not. I think it might be after 3. But still strange.
I mean, it was pretty common practice in aristocracy for a long time.
Yeah.
And it was definitely common practice in Bible times.
I imagine, too, like in small towns where your odds are high and your pickings are low.
Yeah, that's when you get a car and drive snowmobiles. That's all I got. It's a short major fact, but that's why we bantered a bunch. That's why we went on a lot of goat flavored tangents and cow stomach flavored tangents. Do you have anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, so that is the Markhor, Dark Lord of the Sith. For you out there in Podcastia, maintain sure footing. Keep your horns twisty and pretend to eat some snakes on some planes. I don't know, like the Markhor here in life, death, and taxon.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
What is Markhor, Dark Lord of the Sith referencing?
It's not reference. It's just Markhor sounds like the name of, like a Sith Lord.
It sounds like Melkor, which is like the name of a
Lord of the Rings demon.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings Satan.
Yeah.
Before he completely fell.
Sauron's dad. It's not actually his dad.
No.
Sauron's mentor.
Yeah, mentor.